Good morning. I'm in Chelan at my parents' house, and there's a mountain behind my parents' house that I've never climbed because it is massive and it is steep, and there's no trail, and a lot of rock face, and probably pretty dangerous. And it's just a bear to get up. If I could switch this around, actually, I'll just turn the camera, show you how far I've climbed in the last hour. You'll see a dock. Hopefully you'll be able to see this. There's a dock way down on the lake that you can barely make out the boats. That's how far we climbed this morning. We'll be able to see the height. My parents' house is down where those docks are, down on the water, way down there. And if I were to walk closer, you see that there's some pretty good elevation climb trying to get up this mountain. And I started at the base of this mountain as a waterfall. It's about a 5-minute hike from my parents' house, and it's where I proposed to Kim. And the year after we proposed, fire just ravaged the land. I don't know if you can see some of the trees in the background. Probably over here you see they're just torched. This entire hillside, even the mountain I'm on right now, was just in flames. My parents almost lost their house. And this morning, as I was climbing, I just felt like I was just asking God just to meet me at the top of the mountain as I climbed. And it was probably about 2 or 3 times where it was a little nerve-wracking, where the shale was slipping away, and spots where if you fall, you probably don't stop falling. You just keep tumbling down the hill. And I wanted to quit a few times. Also, just my lungs are on fire. I'm out of shape. My feet hurt. My knees and legs were just burning. Muscles are burning. And everything was torched along the way, where there wasn't rocks and hard ground. Every tree is just burnt. And but there's life coming even out of the burn. There's life being breaking through the ground, plants coming. But when I got to the top, it kind of hit me, just this image of just continuing to fight and keeping your eyes up on the things of the Lord, not the things in front of you. As I was climbing in those scary spots, it was imperative that I kept my eyes on the next step and then glancing towards the goal, but then back on the next step and then glancing towards the goal. And if I were to look down, the reality of how high I was, how steep the moment of that slope at the moment would have been terrifying. And I don't do well with heights. And so I knew if I looked back, fear would overcome me. Of what could happen if I slipped and fell, to realize that the precarious positions I was in. And I knew that fear would make my climb just that much more difficult, or it would make me quit. And I'm just thinking about this morning, to just go, there's so often in life that God is calling us to look higher, and he's giving us vision just for one step. I didn't know, there's no trail. I had no idea how many switchbacks or what the route I was going to take. I'd look up and maybe a general idea, but every step would have its own little, whoa, that was a murder hornet. We thought we saw one yesterday. A stinking hornet about this big. 2 of them just flew by my head. We thought we had one on the deck yesterday. Being attacked up here. I'm going to move into the shade. That was crazy. It was 2 of them. But every step I needed to look. I had a direction I knew where the top of the mountain was. I knew where it was. I knew a general idea of how to get there. But every step needed to be accounted for, to make sure that it was secure, that it was going in a general right direction. And I just felt like this morning, as I got to the top, the Lord just reminded me that to keep our eyes on him, to always be looking upwards constantly, but then assessing every step according to the direction he's called us to go, to the truth he's put in our heart, and to not look back. To not look back at past hurts, to not look back at past failures, to not look back at what might happen if you take a step of faith and God isn't there, if he doesn't meet you in your moment, because those fears will stop us from even trying. And the enemy will tell us that God failed us, but so often it's because we just failed to take the step of faith to actually see what God might have for us. And I just want to encourage you today, church, to just continue fighting. I want to encourage any marriages that might be going through something. You see, when I proposed, that waterfall is just torched all around it, but there's still that moment where my wife and I got engaged, there's still, the waterfall's still flowing, and there's greenery around it, even though all the trees there were torched. And Kim and I's marriage started off very, very rocky, like as rocky as it could get. But when I got to the top of the hill, all these torched trees, there's 2 trees at the top of this hill right here. And there isn't a sign of fire on either one of them. And right before I got here, I saw the first sign of fruit about 20 yards back down that way, almost at the very top of the hill. There's the first mountain blueberry bush full of berries and full of life. And I just felt like the Lord just reminded me that where we started 6 years ago in this torched earth of the beginning of our relationship, 6 years of climbing together side by side, we have both arrived. And we've gone through a lot of burn and a lot of heartache, but God has gotten us here to this mountaintop, and it's not the final mountaintop. Behind me, this is the highest point you can see from my parents' house. So once you get to this point, you look behind, and there is so many more adventures still out in front of us. So many more places with so much promise and excitement. And I just want to speak that over people right now in your marriages. If you're having a rough time, if you're having a rough time in anything of God's promise, to keep fighting. That there are plateaus where you get to celebrate, but God always has more. There's always more in the Lord. And so continue to climb. Keep your eyes on him and his promises, his goodness, and give him every step. Make every step of your day intentional to just let him speak into every moment. And there will be fruit in your life. There will be summits and vistas and experiences that you can't get if you stay down just near the base where it's all torched. And don't let a certain experience become your eternal reality, that you had hurt in one time, hurt in one place. Press on, climb harder. It's worth the burn. It's worth the fight, because you can't get memories like these staying in the valleys. God bless.